Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, for those of whom I can see. This is clearly the graveyard stretch, but somebody has to do it. So I've been asked to summarize and offer a few thank yous. The common thread that came through consistently today is that for us to be around in 10 years' time, we have to innovate, we have to diversify, we have to reinvigorate, and we have to simplify. We have to find new customers. All of that sounds very daunting, but it sounds to me as though many of the participants have actually made quite a bit of progress. I do notice, and a common thread of tote operators in the past has been that we don't know our customers. And I heard that Philippe Germont mentioned, I think, a number of as high as 90% of the PMU's customers that they had no direct touch with. Well, that's something that we experience in South Africa as well. That people come into our outlets, take a bet and go away, and we don't know who they are and whether we will ever see them again, and why they've actually taken a bet with us and why they might come back. So that is a major, getting to know your customer, instituting loyalty programs, customer reward incentives, and employing customer relationship management is vital, and it's good to see that that was a theme that comes through and that everybody is starting to embrace that. I noticed also last night, in the technology world, we've heard today that computers and the internet is not going to be the lead, that the smartphone and mobile phones will take the lead and have actually taken over. I found it very interesting that both Facebook and Twitter have more activity on their on mobile phones into their applications than on the internet. And is also a trend that we need to embrace. We've found in South Africa recently that approximately 75% of the bets that of the races that we stage in South Africa are handicap races. Now, for those of you, I would expect that most of you are familiar with horse racing, but I certainly wasn't 5 years ago. And it was news to me that in a handicap race, if the handicapper gets it right, then all of the horses should finish in a straight line, which really means that the outcome of 75% of our horse races is a lottery outcome. And yet, we in South Africa, and I've found that with similar racing operators, we tend to encourage people to study too much form, and we make bets too complicated. And that's where I picked up very interestingly where Harold reinvigorated a bet and made it simpler. And I think that that is most certainly a theme that we should all take away. Innovation is not necessarily complicating things more. It might be simplifying them. And we've also, in South Africa, recently reinvigorated our Pick 6. We took couplings away and found that our Pick 6 pools were up 30%. In fact, 2 weeks ago, on a Saturday, the pools had doubled. And theoretically, that should make the bet more difficult to catch. But then simplifying the bet to understand couplings makes the bet more complex. And by taking away couplings, you have more carryovers and therefore larger pools. So if you reduce the bet denomination, take the complexity away, we found that you double the size of the pool, which is really simply reinvigorating an old horse, if you might pardon the pun. Another very interesting that we came across, and that was not a direct theme, but probably indirect. We all say to one another that we should chase a new customer base and embrace technology, etc. But We never really encountered ladies in our retail outlets. To be quite honest, I wouldn't want to admit it too loudly, but some of them are real dumps. But yet you find in casinos, the people who play slot machines are more, the majority of people who play slot machines, which approximate 90% of a casino's revenues, are women. And we recently found a trend in South Africa of women coming into our fixed odds betting outlets. And that was on the back of a product that we launched somewhat daringly. But interestingly, we're offering bets, fixed odds bets, on the outcome of lotteries around the world. So instead of taking a lottery bet, we're saying if you pick one number and the number comes up, we'll pay you 7-1. If you pick 4 numbers, we recently had a guy who picked 4 numbers, took a 10 rand bet, and was paid out 70,000 rand. Now, if you get 4 numbers right on the national lottery, you get paid 24 rand. All of a sudden, a new audience started coming into our outlets, and now we're finding that women are coming in and they're playing the numbers bets, because the horse racing, the sport of horse racing, I think to those people who come on course, yes, women will take a bet, but they wouldn't come into our retail outlets that often. I know I'm on dangerous ground in saying this, but then it's late in the afternoon, so there are few ladies around. So very interesting trends. We've also found in our business in South Africa that as the economy tightens and the purse strings get smaller, we find that our punters are seeking lower denomination bets that they can take more regularly, and in particular, they want to pay a small amount, let's say R1 or R1.50. I see the UK lottery has now doubled its take. I think it's a mistake. They've increased it from £1 to £2. We've found that by reducing the bet denomination, we're actually getting more bets in. And in South Africa, we're targeting our new innovations towards small denomination bets, more lottery-like, where you are likely to have high carryovers, and that the bets are simple. And I think that was a common thread coming through today. Right, that leaves me to wrap up and offer a few thanks. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our speakers and the moderators. You've done a superb job, really. I think it's fair to say that this must be the best. This was the 6th racing and betting business event, and it must go down as the best. So well done to all of the speakers and the moderators. And I must also thank Florence, who's sitting in front here, for what you've done in putting this event together. You've set a high bar for yourself for next year. Well done. I'd like to also thank the co-organizers, the European Pari Mutuel Association, the International Federation of Horse Racing Associations, the IFHA, EPMA, and the PMU, for organizing and hosting this event for us, and especially for doing so in such a beautiful city. It's always a privilege to come to Paris. And finally, a heartfelt thank to our sponsors, Sportec, LARC, Latin American Racing Company, United Tote, Group Carus for their very generous sponsorship. It's much appreciated, and we all enjoyed the event very much. I now hand over to Florence, who'll take you through the final arrangements for this afternoon, and I believe perhaps this weekend as well. Thank you.